Hello, 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 human nerds. How are we doing this week? Hopefully everything's been going well for you guys. Um, I'm in that teacher slump right now. School starts tomorrow. I gotta go do my fun trainings. Yay! Nah, I actually like teaching. It's always weird getting back into it, learning the new students, figuring out the new expectations, rules, changes, etc. It's just a lot of extra work when all you really want to do is sit down and talk about reading, writing, and how to make them smarter. So, anyways, other than that, it's been hot as all get out in Louisiana. So, I need to cut my grass, but I refuse to go out there right now. So I'm just going to have to wait and see how that goes. Uh, yeah, that's pretty much it. I've just been kind of trying to enjoy my last week break. You know, I'm excited. I got the physical. Let me grab it. I got my author copy of my book, which is cool. I'll plug that later, but that's got me excited. That's one of them lifelong dreams I've always had, is to have a book with my name on it on the shelf. Whether you like it or not, it's cool to have it made, right? So, anyways, what am I reading right now? I am currently still diving into two big books. So I'm working my way through Empire of the Dawn by Jay Kristoff, wrapping up that plot line. I'm really enjoying it so far. The way these books work, if you haven't read one yet, is literally they're like, even though it's one book, it has that whole structure where it's like book one, book two, book three inside of it, kind of like the Lord of the Rings structure, So inside of it, without saying too much in the third book, you're flipping perspectives for the different books, just like you were in the second book. So I'm just now gotten to book two, which I know seems like it's not that far. It's not. There's 6 in there, but I mean, I'm close to page 200. I'm working my way. I'll admit this has been a slow week for me, so you got to be in the mood to read. So but I've been enjoying it. I get to see a team up I've been wanting to see with Gabriel and some of his Silver Saint brothers. I'm not going to say much more than that, but I will say that that's been kind of cool. We get to see Gabriel's homeland, which is kind of cool. Not like where he was actually raised, but like the place where he supposedly is, like his lineage is from. Leon. Okay. So Gabriel de Leon, right? Anyways, I moved over to the second perspective, and we're seeing some stuff with that. So hopefully it continues to be good. I don't know why I get so absorbed into that world. It's just fun to read. It's a fun little fantasy horror series that I just think more people should read. I will say it's definitely got crude language and stuff, but I mean, if you know Jay Kristoff or if you've read Joe Abercrombie, you're fine. You'll be okay. So, all right. I was reading The Lone Drow by R.A. Salvatore. I soft paused that for a little bit. I am trying to finish the Drit series for nostalgia's sake. I find them harder and harder to read as I keep going. I've been told that they get better. Like there's this notorious time period in the Drit's books where there's a slump. I'm supposed to be past that, but I don't really feel like I'm past that. Like there's cool stuff happening in this book. R.A. Salvatore is a master at writing combat, but it's almost like it's too much combat. Like at some point I want to rein it in. I've noticed something with the Drit's books as I've gotten older and more learned in my reading is that there's just not a lot of fun dialogue in those books. It's a lot of action and a lot of stuff happening, but it's not a lot of like in-depth fun conversations that are actually like fun to read. And Salvatore really dives into like the accents and stuff like that. So like, you're dealing with dwarves in this book, and it's kind of funny to like read dialogue like Gimli would in Lord of the Rings, but like entire pages of it, you just sort of get kind of tired of it after a while. I'm not crapping on the book. It's, I'm not far enough into it to make a full judgment on it. Cool stuff is happening. Like, I love the dwarven fortifications against the orcs. I love watching Dritz play the ranger going in and out of the camps. just for some reason, I'm not in the mood for it right now. So I've kind of paused that, and in place of it, I started Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones, and I'm like real into that right now. So it is definitely not the kind of book you could read slow, though. And I know some people have said like the audio is good for it. I don't know that I do the audio for this because it's got almost 3 different stories going on in it, and it's got that like nesting doll format where it's just, I don't want to say too much, but essentially it deals with someone in the present finding the diary of one of their ancestors, and in that diary he is recording the tale of someone else, an Indian, who I'm not going to say more, but like, so you've got a story about finding the diary of an ancestor, where inside that diary is the recordings of a story that an Indian gave that ancestor. So it's like a story, and then we haven't come back up to the top yet. And I'm like 44% into the book. So I've been trucking through that. Like, I don't know, that's been drawing my attention. So I'm going to keep going. I'm enjoying it. I'm doing highlights in it. I might give a nice little critical review when I'm done. But other than that, those are kind of what I'm reading. I did pick up a Chuck Tingle novella on for audio, but I haven't started that yet. So I'm not going to talk about it until I actually hit play on it. Because sometimes I'll go on Hoopla and I'll just grab something and then I'll never actually touch it. I'll just return it. So we'll see if I actually get to it or not. As far as things I read over the last week, I'm trying to think. I feel like I only finished one thing because everything else is huge. I finished Zombie Bake Off by Stephen Graham Jones, which is a little novella he did. I did that one over audio. It was fun. It's not something that, like, I'm really going to remember down the road. It's silly. It's like this convention center, and there's like this baking competition, and they call them like, soccer moms or whatever in the story. Like, that's what some of the characters call them. Like, basically it's like this baking competition, and then these wrestlers show up because they've booked a night event. So they're kind of overlapping in this place, which is funny because you have like 2 completely different worlds colliding with each other. And then zombies happen in the middle of that. And so the elements of both sides have to sort of team up to deal with the zombies. And it's funny. And Stephen Graham Jones did do something I have not seen in a zombie thing yet towards the end of the book. I do feel like he could have explored it more. I mean, to be fair, it was really gross, but it was something I hadn't seen before. So I thought that was kind of cool. So if you're looking for something to like pass a little time that you don't have to really sink your teeth into or worry about not understanding, like Buffalo Hunter, if I zone out while I'm reading a paragraph, I have to stop and I have to go back and reread that paragraph because I don't want to miss anything. The way the story is written and the way the prose is, it's beautiful, and it's done with a very careful attention to style that relates to the time period. And there's even more to it than that I'll save for another day. But in Zombie Bake Off, you could just go at it. You could just have fun with it. So that's one of those. Sometimes you want a book where you don't have to try that hard. The Zombie Bake Off ended up being that for me, I think, more than the Lone Drow. So I'm going to go back to the Lone Drow when I'm done with Buffalo Hunter probably. I just needed a break. I don't know. Something wasn't vibing with me. So you know how it is. That's kind of all I've read over the last week. I've been dealing with. We had to go to the school a couple times. As a good old American teacher, I had to get CPR trained, all that good stuff. Now, I got to do that because I'm also a coach, but I like to be CPR trained and up to date on all that stuff. So, it's nice. Yeah. So kind of a low week for me on reading, but I got a lot of reading done. Just didn't finish anything. I'm reading chunky books right now. As far as that, another interesting thing, I'm going to post it up here, but I'm going to talk about it based off my computer real quick. I use Storygraph to record my reading. I used to use Goodreads back in the day. I don't like Goodreads. I like to get more in depth with my ratings. Me and Marissa disagree on this. She likes to gut rate things, which is perfectly fine. I try gut rating things, and then I end up looking at stuff that's rated. My ratings end up skewing too high because gut rating, I'll talk about that in a little bit, actually. But anyways, my July books, so total in July, I read, it looks like 8 books. Yeah. So 4 of them were audio. I'm off for summer break right now, doing a lot of stuff at home. So a lot of stuff gets more audio during the summer. I gotta wait and see. I might get some audio done during the school year. It depends if my kids make us listen to Blackpink and Baby Monster the entire ride, or if they let us actually like listen to a book. So, depends. I read Wolfworm by T. Kingfisher, Iron Gold, and Dark Age. So two Red Rising books. The Hive, Serafina, Books of Blood by Clive Barker, and Tastes Like Candy and Zombie Bake Off, which I just talked about. So if you're looking at the image on the screen, you'll notice my ratings look a little low. That's because I've been playing around with trying to create a more critical rating system. In my experience, 3 stars, it's like most... I feel like a lot of people rate things 3 or up, no matter what. And I find like there's got to be some value in the 2-star range. So you'll notice like Zombie Bake Off is a 2.5. That's not technically bad. I mean, Zombie Bake Off for me, it's a good book. Like I thought it was fine. Like it's an average, it's an average read. It's not something that I'm going to really remember that much. So if I'm looking at my review for Zombie Bake Off, I basically rate normal fiction novels in 5 categories. So there's the hook and the promise and plot. So the idea behind this is this is what a lot of people would just consider the plot, but I also throw in the hook or promise in that. And what that is what I'm sold when I pick up the book. So a lot of us when we read, we'll look at the back of the book and we'll ask, all right, is this something that like I care about? Is this something that's going to pique my interest? Is this something like I might see another booktuber talk about? And I'm like, that sounds kind of interesting. So I call that the promise or the hook. The idea that the thing that's reeling me in to want to read it. A lot of times there can be a book that promises something. You don't really get that out of the book. So that could lower this a little bit because that does affect the plot in my mind. That's not to say that things can't subvert my expectations. I love things that subvert my expectations. What I don't like is being promised a certain style of book and then being delivered something that I was not in the right ballpark with, I guess. A good example of this would be The Day of the Jackal, which, you watch the movie and you're like, okay, cool. It's like this counter-espionage type situation. And I was like, that's not bad. And then I read the book and I was like, oh, this is super boring. Like this, there's none of the fun that was in the movie that's happening here. So, I don't know. Anyways, so, promise and plot, that's 1. Characters is 2. I'm a big character reader. If I don't like your characters, I'm going to have a very, very hard time with your book. It's just how it is. But not only that, but characters have to have some kind of development to where I'll remember them. If y'all probably noticed in a few of these YouTube videos I've made, I'll straight up forget characters because I'm a teacher. I got to learn, which is way less than most teachers. I got to learn 60 new names a year, period. Not to mention all the other kids that are around the school in different grade levels. Like names will not stick with me unless the character is developed and feels good. So even characters I don't like, I can hate the character. If they're developed, I'll remember them. So characters get a rating. Setting and world is another rating. This plays both ways. If it is a fantasy book, I want to see some attention and detail put into that world that matters for the plot. If it's not a fantasy book, like let's say it takes place in Chicago, that's fine. And it can still get a high rating if the setting is playing a role in the story in a way that I find enjoyable. So like the Dresden Files is a good example where I'm so used to his Chicago setting now that I like to imagine it in my head as he's doing it and stuff. So it works for me. Engagement and prose. So these go hand in hand with me. A book doesn't necessarily have to have the most flowery writing and the most beautiful thesaurus sentences as long as it's engaging. It's like a good thriller. You don't want your thriller sentences to be these long, convoluted sentences because the point of a thriller is the reader's supposed to be reading it fast. They're supposed to be caught up in the adrenaline. So that would be more like where engagement comes in. Prose would be, I'm in this world and you want to explain something to me. How are you choosing to do it? What words are you using? Are you trying to be specific? Are you trying to paint a picture for me in my mind? Are you trying to give me, things to think about? Are you being creative with your writing? I love Stephen Graham Jones. That's why I'm taking my time with Buffalo Hunter x Hunter. He's so fun with the way he writes, in my opinion. Like, he just has this unique way of doing things that you don't want to rush through. You want to kind of experience it. So, anyways, I take those 5 categories, sort of add them up, average them out into this little chart I made, and it gives me a rating. So, like, all right, post-editing nerd here. I realized in explaining my rating system, I didn't explain one of the categories because I was rushing. You shouldn't rush. Another one of the categories I do is called theme and thoughts. So I think this is important that books should have, most books are going to have themes in them. I think it's really hard to write a narrative without having some sort of theme or conflict involved, which usually the conflicts will lead to the themes. But essentially this boils down to me looking at the book and how it lingers in my brain when I'm done reading it or while I'm reading it. The message it's trying to show me. I really love it if an author can hit me with something I haven't really thought of before, or give me something I have thought of and give me a new angle to think about it in. But if themes are not strong, I at least want there to be some thoughts that I constantly have about the book afterwards. I want it to be one of those books that comes to mind easily when I'm done with it. So anyways, back to your actual video. I just needed to plug that in real fast. In theory, going back to Zombie Bake Off, hook or promise and plot is a 3. It's fine. It's a fine, it was average. And so was the theme and thoughts about it at the end, about how you come together, how you got to trust people around you, even if you don't normally agree with them. There's other themes I'm not going to say because that would be a spoiler, but yeah. Engagement and prose. I thought the writing was what it needed to be for that book. I was engaged enough that I was able to get through it. It's not supposed to have flowery prose because of the nature of the story. Okay. The things that suffered were the characters. I'll be honest, about halfway through the book, I started forgetting some of the characters, who they were, because there just wasn't enough time to build them up in my mind. And then the setting in the world was kind of silly. It didn't really. I think the setting only existed there because he didn't want it to be an outbreak of zombies. He wanted it to be contained, which is fine. But it does seem a little silly that there's the way it's convoluted to where they can't get out the place is just kind of ridiculous. So anyways, those two got 2s. The rest got 3s. It ended up boiling down to what I consider a 2.5. A 2.5 for me is a fine. It's 2 to 3 is a fine book. It's fine. It's average. It's when you start dipping below 2 that you start getting into the disappointed and bad territory. So anyways, I spent enough time on that. I just wanted to share that thought with you guys. So if you think my ratings look a little low, it's because I've recently gotten annoyed at how high my ratings look. And I wanted to go in and start using my system again. So I've dinged some down because I'm like, all right, was this really a 5 or was I just too excited? Which brings me to my talking point for this video. I'm curious in the comments, so please let me know. I was having this talk with my wife, and I said, I wonder if we have a tendency as people, not everybody, of course, there's always exceptions. The longer the book is, the higher the rating we'll give it when we finish it, if we rate it immediately. So something I've been trying to get myself to do is wait a week before I rate a book. If I finish a book, my new thing is going to be to maybe try to wait I'll maybe give you a gut feeling on my little update videos. I'm feeling like this is a 5-star read, or I'm feeling like it's a 4-star or whatever, but I'm not going to actually sit down and do my official rating until a week later. I need to let that initial hype of finishing the book, pass. And the reason I say that is because I've noticed that longer books that I read tend to get immediately higher ratings. And I think subconsciously, I have no evidence to back this up. I have no data to back it up. Just throwing a flat out opinion out there. I think subconsciously, because a longer book takes a lot more effort, it's almost like we don't want to rate it lower because we feel like we wasted our time. It's like, yeah, the 1,000-page book's 5 stars because I just sat and read 1,000 pages, so it better have been 5 stars. You get what I'm saying? And I know I've read a lot of Brandon Sanderson, and Sanderson's known for having bigger books. I've read all of Mistborn, and I've read The Way of Kings. I haven't gone further than The Way of Kings and the Cosmere yet. But I remember one of the things you always hear about his books is the Sanderlanche, the last bit. And I'm like, but does that, if you read a Sanderson book, and let's say you get 800 pages in, and the Sanderlanche is page 801 to 1000. Is it really a 5-star book from page 1 to 800? Or is it just 5 stars because that last 200 was really good and my God, you finished 1,000 pages? I don't know. Just food for thought. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because I'm curious about this. I'm wondering if maybe it's better to wait a little bit before you rate things Let them sort of simmer in your brain a little bit, because that's important. Because I think a week later, if you're not even thinking of the book or you're having trouble remembering things, like, was it necessarily, such a high rated thing for you or not? Which brings me to another point. Ratings don't really matter. So you can treat them one of two ways. The way I treat them is I don't look at them at all. I would much rather actually watch a booktube or just talk about a book, and I get an idea from their talking about it if I think I might be interested. If I go to Goodreads or I don't even look at the stars and averages, because that's data that can be skewed and messed up and whatever. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me. My rating system's for me, and I think your rating system should be for you. Remember that. It's you. It's your feelings. It's your emotions when you read. If you don't care about setting at all, that shouldn't be one of your categories you're grading. You should be looking at the things you care about. Okay? Anyways, that's my PSA for today. All right. Other ideas for videos. I'm almost caught up with Dresden Files. I have one more book, and then technically the side stuff I haven't read yet. But I'm considering doing a video where I rank the Dresden Files books, spoiler free to the best of my ability. But I don't know. I was curious about doing that. Maybe I can get me and Marissa to do that because she's read them all too. So we could rank them and then not tell each other and then reveal where our numbers are at the same time. That could be fun. Anyways, other than that, if you want to support me in any way, I don't have a Patreon or anything like that. I just have my book I made, All the Yesterdays. I know a few of you have already purchased it, and I thank you so much for that. It made me feel so cool to be looking at Amazon's KDP thing and being look at that. I made $20, which is, I'm a teacher, so $20 is actually helpful. It gives me some pencils. So, and before you're don't they bring their own pencils? They do. Those are gone by September. Well, how do they use all the pencils by September? They don't. They break them. Yeah. There's a lot of things you don't know about if you're not a teacher. It's a lot of weird things. Trust me. It's a lot of weird stuff. Anyways, so if you want to support me, book up there. Let me know if you have any ideas for videos you want me to do. I'm going to try, I think from here, while school starts, it's going to be one major video a week and then an update on the weekends. If I'm getting in the routine and I'm good and I'm feeling good, I'll bump it up to 2 again. I also am coaching football, so I don't even get home till I go to work for 7 and I get home at 7. It's 12-hour days for football. So I usually don't even have time till the weekends. Anyways, I think that's it for this update video. Let me know what you guys are reading. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet. I'm a fun channel. I just talk about books and a few other things I might do. We watch some garbage. Oh God. If you want to have a time of your life, hold up. Stop everything. All right. Stop everything. Okay. It's either Peacock or Amazon Prime. They have a horror movie, and it's terrible. It's called Aquarium of the Dead. Me and my daughter, who were up late one night, Ellie, the older one, we were like, let's just watch this. It's probably going to be terrible. And she's like, why would you watch a bad movie? And I'm like, because sometimes it's fun to watch bad movies, because they make you feel better about what you can do. And this movie was absolutely so bad it was funny. So bad it was funny. You guys need to check it out. I'm not playing. Just so we're clear, I'm not saying it's a good movie. It's a terrible movie, but it was so bad it's funny. It's like old school sci-fi on the weekends at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Garbage. Good stuff. Anyways, I'm going to sign off before I get in another rant. You guys let me know what you're reading. And let's see. I'll sign off. Let's see. Oh, let's sign off as Gabriel de Leon. The Lion. Anyways, that's from Empire of the Vampire. Stay nerdy.